Welcome back, everyone. Jerry Pitts is with us today, Lima Attorney. We're continuing our discussion about stand your ground. You know, one of the things right at the tail end of the last segment, we started talking about the race factor in that, and there are studies out there that saying there is a real concern and a legitimate one about African Americans being disproportionately the victims of stand your ground and that kind of thing, and not vice versa. The stats are pretty skewed that way, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's so, I guess it's not strange, but Florida is one of the leading components of both issues. And all we have to think about is Trayvon Martin. Mm-hmm. And how easily that happened. And now it is disproportionate, the number of minorities who are getting injured or hurt due to someone having a founded or ill-founded fear of what is occurring. Now, what we need, a point we gotta point out is that once a defense lawyer uses the defense of stand your ground, what happens is the prosecution has to duty at that time to show that the shooting or cutting or maiming was not justified.
Right. Now, in Florida, they specifically state that, where they say the state has to prove that it wasn't self-defense. Not all states do that with their stand your ground, but Florida, they're one of the stricter ones. I think maybe Massachusetts does that too. And
it's becoming a standard at this point, because once the defense uses that, it's the same as they used in the day of battered women syndrome, when they said the wife or girlfriend had been beating so much that it created such a fear in them that their retaliation at some point was geared from the previous activity. So the stand your ground, well, what we really gonna have to be concerned about, and everybody's saying, well, legally, the jurors or the courts or somebody's gonna be able to figure out if it's a justifiable act or not. However, but what we're getting to now is that there's two bills pending, one in the Senate, one in the House of Representatives, that says you no longer need to have a permit and or training to have a gun on you in public. Now,
the training part's really scary, isn't it?
That's going to be awful scary. It's almost like going back to a Wild West theory. Now, most people, even if their fear is legitimate or not legitimate, if those measures pass, and I believe they are, because the House and the Senate have each passed it, but they can't agree as to what both of their bills need to be included. And once they can iron that out, we're going to have what they call now permitless right to carry a gun.
Do we get a sense of what law enforcement thinks about that? Because I think they would be adamantly opposed to that, and just because of their line of work.
I would have thought so, just as equally opposed to the stand your ground situation, period. We've been dealing with these issues since 2018, actually. But once that happens, then legitimately, if that bill passes, legitimately everybody can say, I don't know who's carrying a gun.
Right. Yeah.
So therefore, that fear is almost established. So
I have to assume they have a gun.
It's more than likely, unless they're a felon, and they're the ones who are not supposed to carry, but probably are carrying more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So there's where we are. And I want people to keep an eye on these legislations, because if we do not do something with them, we're ultimately asking for a disproportionate, not just minorities, but people with lower economic incomes and et cetera, depending on your living environment. And of course, those who have income are not escaped from this either.
Yeah, stay tuned. All right, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good seeing you. They'll go Medical News coming up next on Noon Edition.